Warmed by the cracking commentary by the dynamic duo this morning. Thank you. Waiting to see what Tuchel can offer my Chelsea Blues tomorrow. Yeah, tune in for that one. They're playing Burnley. It's the early kickoff tomorrow. Here's Dominic Calvert-Lewin out to Alex Iwobi. Right hand side. Iwobi looking to take on Lewis. It's a useful looking cross. Just a little bit too far above Richarlison, but the whistle has blown anyway for a free kick to Newcastle. Mohamed Abdul Rahim, happy to hear your voices again after the FA Cup action at the weekend. I'm enjoying your captivating commentary via Diamond FM in Tamale. And goodness me, Michael L., thanks TalkSport Live for the commentary and keeping me company during another morning in Bozeman, Montana, where I can tell you it's an absolute carpet of snow. Lovely winter scene there. One of those parts of America, I guess, where you know that the snow's coming, so you're ready for it, unlike us last Sunday when we were hit by a blanket and didn't quite know what to do. And everything grinds to a halt. Yes, it does. Everything stops running. It was good fun, though. I enjoyed it. Here's Git Sigurdsson winning the ball on the edge of the Everton penalty area and playing the ball infield to Abdoulaye Doucouré, whose 5 yellow cards prevented him from taking part in the weekend draw with Leicester. Pickford, who did take part, but perhaps wish he hadn't, plays it out towards Coleman, who finds Rodriguez. That's a swirling ball and an excellent one across field by Rodriguez to Richarlison. He's got Digne to his left-hand side. Here's the Frenchman now. First time cross by him, high and hanging, should be okay for Darlow. And the goalkeeper makes a nice grab. That all started with a fabulous pass by James Rodriguez. Yeah, again, his quality, the way that he sees different parts of the play and sees things that maybe other players don't see, and the way that they shifted that out quick, it really caught Newcastle out. Here come Newcastle coming forward though with Callum Wilson. He's in a useful position. He's got to the byline just inside the penalty area, drifts outside it now but finds Almiron. Almiron plays a square ball across to Jamal Lewis. Lewis first time cross, speared in, and Yerry Mina is there to make the block, and it goes off his foot and behind for another corner to Newcastle. Yeah, it does really well there. It's a dangerous ball because Callum Wilson's lurking, and initially when the ball went up to Wilson, Newcastle got more players around him, which obviously makes his life easier. A striker playing in this sort of game, you need your support of your teammates around you because you can come. Here's the corner. And it's again not a very good one by Ryan Fraser. It's headed away by Richarlison. But yeah, we're just saying you can come deflated if you're really isolated, but getting players around Wilson now. It's not far short of 10 hours of football since Newcastle last scored in an away game. Here's Lewis looking to put that right. It's only cleared as far as Almiron, and then the shot subsequently is blocked, and suddenly Everton can break again with the pacey Richarlison, who tries to find Calvert-Lewin, but there's a covering defender there. It's Isaac Hayden who sweeps it back to his goalkeeper Darlow, who wastes no time in getting it forward again. But here's Richarlison once more for Everton. Almost 20 minutes played at Goodison Park. Everton 0, Newcastle 0. Don't forget we've got Manchester City against Sheffield United, top versus bottom, coming up with Russ Hargreaves and Kit Simons at 3. Here's James finding Doucouré. Doucouré sweeps it into the path of Sigurdsson, and now it's Lucas Digne who just pauses because James has gone down injured in the centre of the field, and Jonjo Shelvey has been yellow carded for that challenge. He's actually twice, Jonjo Shelvey, been sent off in his career against Everton for both Newcastle and Swansea, so he's now in danger of an unwanted hat-trick. We're looking at it again. He's just stamped down on his foot. That looked a little bit unpleasant, didn't it? Yeah, it's not a nice one, especially when it's a bit cold. They sting. Hopefully Rodriguez, it's nothing too serious and they can run it off, but especially, to be fair, he's got leather boots on. A lot of players wear the sort of plastic boots where you get a stud and it's painful, so yeah, hopefully he runs that off and it's nothing too serious. It looks like he's wearing ankle socks, but he's got sort of cut off socks over the top.
Yeah,
rolled it
I
up.
do that as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've not seen that. What's the advantage in that then?
Normally it's like grip, and you have sort of grip socks that stop you getting blisters.
Right.
So yeah, just a weird idiosyncrasy that is footballers
have. It's not
have.
a fashion statement.
Well, it might be as well.
It
There's
might
always
catch
that.
on. James is, I have to say, not running very well at the moment. Everton are, though, with Iwobi down the right-hand side. Iwobi's crossed into the box towards Calvert-Lewin, and it's not very well dealt with by either Lascelles or Hayden. And finally, Hayden does apply a boot to knock it up towards halfway, where it's controlled by Callum Wilson. Hendrick in a 50-50 with Digne, which Digne wins, and now it's Richarlison, and here come Everton again. Richarlison within sight of the penalty area, still has it, wants to shoot. Richarlison, good effort, and it's palmed away by Darlow, and eventually there's a foul by Digne. That was typical Richarlison, cutting in off the left onto his right foot, and he's tested the keeper well.
Yeah, it's lovely, and no one saw there's a slip in there as well, which is unfortunate, but he's getting to that point in the final third, and you're wanting a Newcastle player to come out and engage him, and he doesn't need a second invitation. Darlow does well to parry it away, but you can't keep giving players like that much space.
He's twice scored in previous games against Newcastle, Richarlison, so they know what he can do. We're at the midway point in the first half. It's still goalless here. I wouldn't say that Everton have dominated. They probably had more of the ball. Certainly Darlow has now been tested, whereas Pickford hasn't really. I would think if I was Steve Bruce, I'd be encouraging the Newcastle players maybe to have a go at Pickford early on from distance, see how his confidence is, but they haven't really done that, have they?
Yeah, definitely. When you know that you've got a keeper that's a bit low in confidence and form, as you say, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Almiron. His goal ended a very long drought for Newcastle in midweek. It had been 425 minutes prior to that goal since they'd scored. Mina is just beaten to it in the box by Wilson, who turns well and finds Almiron again. Here's John Joe Shelvey. He can hit them, and he does. And it just flicks wide, I think off an Everton toe. It's going to be a corner. John Joe Shelvey trying his luck low and hard from the edge of the box, but just wide.
Yeah, comes off Mina there, and that could have gone in the bottom left-hand corner, but the initial feat from Wilson was fantastic to keep the ball, and then as I've said, Shelvey's got good technical ability to be able to shoot from outside of the box.
Fraser's corner again. Once again, that's the third time running his corner has been met easily by an Everton defender who's headed it clear, and this time it was Keane, and from a corner Newcastle now have the ball at the feet of Carl Darlow. Bruce, there's not a lot you can do as a manager, is there, when a gifted player like Ryan Fraser is wasting set pieces consistently? No,
and I imagine his centre halves will be going crazy as well when they've run the length of the pitch.
Absolutely, yeah, nothing worse is that lung-busting run up for a corner and then you have to do it all again. There's another stoppage here. This time it's Yerry Mina who's in a little bit of discomfort. Joshua Sampson, good to hear your voices this weekend. I'm enjoying your commentary via Naija FM in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Looking forward to an Arsenal win against Manchester United. That's the big game today. Don't miss out on that one. 5:30, Tom Rennie and the former Manchester United and England fullback Paul Parker will be bringing you this one. James Pickard is in Tampa, Florida, enjoying your colourful and detailed commentary. Thank you. We do our best. You always give us a giggle and a description take on the game. Very much appreciated. Hope another Arsenal fan. Hope my Gunners can provide a win later today to further climb the table. Yeah, it's been a funny season as an Arsenal supporter. Of course, they got Martin Odegaard now, who I saw not so long ago in the flesh in a pre-season friendly at Watford, and he was playing for Sociedad. He looked a really, really good player. I'm not sure whether he's going to be playing tomorrow, but he has been brought in by Arsenal on loan. I think we're going to hear from Mikel Arteta talking about that during our half-time interval, so stay tuned for that. Yerry Mina is holding an ice pack to his right cheek at the moment. He's got a bash and he's clearly struggling with some sort of jaw injury. He's just walking off towards the side of the field.
Oh, he's to the ice as well. I've never seen that before.
He's just taken a lump of ice out of the bag and swallowed it. He's obviously not cold enough. It's just pretty chilly on Merseyside, and he's had a mouthful of ice. Oh dear, that's I've never seen that, but you always see something new, don't you, in a game of football. Anyway, here's Isaac Hayden. The ball's back in play with Newcastle. Swaps passes with Hendrick and drives it forwards. Not a very good ball at all by the Newcastle defender, and Jordan Pickford just lets it run behind. He's had a fairly happy opening 27 minutes, Pickford, where he hasn't really had to have any kind of pressure brought to bear really by Newcastle. This is the problem with Newcastle. I think one of the problems, there are many, but one of them is that even though they might have a lot of the ball and a lot of forward momentum, they create so few chances that, you know, when you get Ryan Fraser, for example, not taking very good corners, set pieces are so vital because they don't look like scoring an open play very often.
No, and as I say, it will drive the players in the box absolutely crazy. I think you look to the balls, up to the forwards as well. Fraser's quite small. Wilson, as much as he can hold the ball up, he'd rather be running in behind than chasing high balls and trying to take it down on his chest against, big players like Mina, who's going to be, pushing him in the back. There's just a lack of quality all over the pitch for me with Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a corner midway inside, a throw-in, I should say, midway inside the Newcastle half on the near right-hand side as they attack. They're the only team in the Premier League who haven't picked up a point in this calendar year of 2021. Ball is flicked out of play by Luca Digne. Their last away win was at the tail end of November at Crystal Palace. They've lost all 7 since. Here's Richarlison. Ball is knocked out of play by the backtracking Javi Manquillo. Throw in by Digne. Finds James, who seems to be okay after that injury. Here's Richarlison, back to James again. He plays it infield to Sigurdsson. James is the sort of player I just love his ability. He seems to be able to play a pass without even looking, but it always seems to end up in the right place. It's an extraordinary gift. Here's Cher, and now on the far side, Lewis to Fraser. Hasn't really got into the game, Ryan Fraser, yet for Newcastle. This is better from them, but again, there's lots of possession, but they're not really getting anywhere. It's with Manquillo on this near side, where there's a few barren patches on the green surface of Goodison Park. It's not one of the more bowling green surfaces you'll see in the Premier League. Here's the ball up towards Wilson, who does well actually to get there in front of Keane and forces Digne to toe poke the ball out of play. Wilson gives the thumbs up for the ball. Sorry.
I'm just to say he does really well there, and it's a bit more of a measured ball for him to be able to get onto, rather than something that is headed. It's within the channels and it's in the space, and that ball's the right ball for Wilson.
Corner to Newcastle. They've had plenty of them, but they haven't made anything of it yet. We're just short of half an hour. Fabian Schär and the other tall centre halves have gone up for this delivery from Ryan Fraser. This time it's headed goalwards by Wilson, and it's chipped over by Pickford. That's the best chance of the game so far. They got the corner right this time. Powerful header by Callum Wilson and an acrobatic save by the under pressure Jordan Pickford. That'll do him a power of good.
Yeah, Pickford does so well. You see when the ball comes in, he comes just a bit closer to the near post. Pickford gets his positioning spot on, and when the ball comes towards him, it's a fantastic save. And as I said earlier, for his, for all his issues with whatever that is, he's a fantastic shot stopper and showing that there.
He's got another corner to deal with here. This one's taken short to Jamal Lewis, who wraps it against the shins of James Rodriguez. Callum Wilson hasn't scored in 6 games since he netted in a draw against Fulham in December. Only won a goal in 10 after he started the season so well. He is Newcastle's top scorer, and he scored the winner in 4 of Newcastle's 5 victories this season. So most of the time when Newcastle get a win, Callum Wilson is the man, but unfortunately for them, his goals have dried up, and as a result it seems the wins have dried up as well. They've only won 2 away from home this season, Newcastle. I mentioned the game against Crystal Palace. They also beat West Ham on the opening day, which, when you look at the two teams now, seems extraordinarily improbable, doesn't it?
Couldn't be any different now.
No, it couldn't. They've gone completely divergent directions since September. Here's Sigurdsson pinging it away across towards Dino, who controls it neatly, and then says to Richarlison, "Where were you?" He's played a left foot pass down the line, and Richarlison hasn't moved, and there was just a little bit of a contretemps, nothing serious between the two of them. They certainly exchanged words. We're looking at Wilson's header again. It needed that flick, didn't it, from Pickford? It was on target.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing that actually baffled me, the second corner they then played short. They finally got a good ball in the box, a shot on target, and then they play it short. It's quite baffling.
Yeah, it is. Here's Darlow at the other end. Up it goes. It's headed away by Keane. Owen Kingsland describes his current circumstance as a chilly morning in upstate New York. He says, better game than I expected, but I can't see anything other than Everton win. His car, I think it's his car, says minus 29. Minus 29, that's more than chilly in my opinion. I've never experienced anything remotely like that in my life ever. I mean, you know, the whole of Britain would freeze completely if it was minus 20. That is incredible. Make sure you get home safe and sound in that weather. Goodness me. Lucadinho with a cross for Everton. We probably haven't been at their very best at all yet. Newcastle have, by their recent standards, I think played pretty well. Here's Almiron getting the ball away up towards Wilson, and that's good play by him. He's having a good game, Wilson, the way he's been an option for them as the lone striker, really, supported by Fraser, who's on the ball now. Wilson again. This is better from Newcastle. Fraser finds Lewis inside the penalty area, cuts it back to Wilson, who drags it back and is brought down. That was a really good move by Newcastle, halted by a foul by Sigurdsson, and they will have a very useful free kick, only a fraction outside the penalty area.
Yeah, it was a really, really nice passage of play from Newcastle, 1 and 2 touch football, and you see what Wilson's trying to do there. He's just trying to take it with the inside foot, turn, and then he wants to get a shot off with his right, but Sigurdsson halts him with the foul.
I've been impressed with Wilson. He's had a chance to score, and he's been a very, very good, as I say, outlet for them. Sigurdsson has turned to booking. That's the first Everton name into referee Atwell's book. Now, this is interesting, isn't it, for Newcastle? John Joe Shelvey's got the ball in his hand. He'd certainly be a major candidate. Almiron is standing alongside him. I reckon it's going to be Shelvey with his right foot to try and give Newcastle a much needed boost. He hasn't scored yet in the Premier League this season. John Joe Shelvey, his only goal came in the League Cup, but this is a good position, and he is a player who in the past has delivered from these sort of opportunities. It's only a yard outside the area, just to the left of centre. It's Shelvey, and he's put it too high. He's furious with himself, and understandably so. That was a chance for Newcastle, and Shelvey couldn't take it.
Yeah, big chance, and as you say, Shelvey has got the ability to get that on target. It was, as you say, only a yard outside the box, so give him the benefit of the doubt. It is hard from that sort of angle to get it up and down with enough pace.
Yeah, it is. We saw Bruno Fernandes with that expertly, and perhaps that's how to take those, Fernandes, for Manchester United in the Cup against Liverpool last weekend, where he just drilled it hard and high to the keeper's left-hand side rather than trying to get it up and over. Here's Ryan Fraser, though, for Newcastle, who are playing well, but that's a poor ball by him. He was looking for Wilson. He's given it instead straight to Michael Keane, who chips it forward. Here's Calvert-Lewin trying to get inside the box. Calvert-Lewin with the back heel. James Rodriguez with the shot, and saved by Darlow. Well, that was a lightning counter by Everton. The long ball up to Calvert-Lewin, clever back heel, and James onto it. And Darlow did well blocking it at his near post. It's turning into an end-to-end match at the moment, because Newcastle are coming forward here with Callum Wilson wide on the right-hand side. His attempted cross is blocked by Dino. It's not gone out of play yet, though, and Everton finally clear it, and Abdoulaye Doucouré just nudges it up towards Rodriguez, who finds Richarlison drifting across the field. Can't take your eyes off this one at the moment. It's Iwobi for Everton, edge of the penalty area, clips it in, it deflects as far as Doucouré, and here's Richarlison. And the two former Watford players combining there, but Richarlison with a chance to finish it has put it wide of the post. But my goodness me, in the last 10 minutes alone, either side could easily have scored.
Yeah, the game's really just come to life there, and I think it's almost done Everton a favour. That it sounds strange that Newcastle have been playing better, but they were so comfortable for the first 20-25 minutes, and Newcastle up in their players also made Everton try and match them. And as I say, for the last sort of 10 minutes, it's been end to end, almost like basketball. Yeah,
James Rodriguez almost scoring for the second game running. The interesting thing about him is that he's been involved in 11 goals for Everton this season, 4 goals and 7 assists. Every single one of those has come at Goodison Park. Here's Hendrick for Newcastle. This is the best I've seen them play in the little run of commentaries I've done on them. The problem is, I suppose, the lack of a finish, but if they can keep a clean sheet and get at least a point, that would be something. It would take them to 20. They'd still be below Burnley, but they would then be 7 away from the drop zone, with of course that crucial game to come between Fulham and West Brom, the two teams above Sheffield United at the moment in that relegation zone. Ball in from Newcastle towards Fraser. It's a shame it was Fraser, because he's the shortest player in the Premier League, and he was easily beaten to it by Coleman. But here come Newcastle again. This is a good spell for them. It's Miguel Almiron looking for a way forward, but Doucouré stuck to him like glue. Here's Shelvey. Shelvey again has to go back and finds Lewis. Out wide is Ryan Fraser wearing bright orange boots. Finds Isaac Hayden. Now it's Fraser again. Can Newcastle give themselves a huge boost? The cross is not particularly good again. It's too close to the backpedaling Jordan Pickford, who grasped it quite comfortably out of the air. Newcastle have drawn on their last 2 visits to Goodison Park. As mentioned, they haven't won since 2010, but they have at least taken a point from the last 2 times they've played here, and I would imagine that would be considered a good result. I mean, anything that ends a 7-match losing away run is a good thing, although of course they are still looking for their first win in 11 games in all competitions, of which they've only only drawn 2, I should say. Here's Rodriguez, centre midfield for Everton. A bit too early to be talking about that yet, because we're still 7 minutes from half time. Rodriguez finds Richarlison. Rodriguez again and Doucouré, and Rodriguez sweeps it away towards the far side, where it's half cleared by Lewis, but it'll come back for Everton with Doucouré centre midfield finding Rodriguez. And now Iwobi comes in across the edge of the penalty area and sets up Sigurdsson, who's caught in possession. There's an Everton player down injured, but play continues. No, it doesn't, because Sigurdsson has been found guilty of a foul. I've got a bit of sympathy for the referee here, because I think he tried to do Everton a favour in playing an advantage when Rodriguez was fouled initially. It didn't accrue, and of course it's ended up with Newcastle getting a free kick, and James is down again.
Yeah, I think it's always hard for the refs. They want to try and play on, keep the game flowing, but then, you look at in terms of that position on the pitch, the ability that Rodriguez has on set pieces, they probably would have preferred the free kick, but I think sometimes as a referee, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. No,
I would agree. Yeah, it's difficult for the ref, isn't it? I mean, it's rather different, isn't it, without crowds? I mean, what would have happened if he'd have been applauded by the Everton supporters for playing that advantage, wouldn't he? But there again, they'd probably be howling now, because Newcastle have been awarded a free kick. No return to supporters in stadiums on the horizon at the moment, sadly, but at least we have the Premier League to entertain us, and we'll be covering every single kick, every goal, every game throughout the entire season for you, of course. Here's Richarlison. That's clever, and he's found Doucouré, who does well to toe poke it into the path of Iwobi. Here's Rodriguez, who's on his feet again and finding Digne with a crossfield pass. Here's Richarlison. Digne again on this left-hand side, finding Rodriguez once more. Doucouré. Everton plenty of possession in and around midfield. James comes forward, tries to find Digne. Good interception though by Jeff Hendrick, the former Burnley player. He's actually scored a couple of goals in a Burnley shirt against Everton. He's not a prolific goal scorer, but the ball is pinged forward up towards James, can't control it, and he's been flagged offside anyway, the Colombian. and Newcastle United will have a free kick. 4 minutes to go to half-time. Everton 0, Newcastle United 0. Fortune Albert, a regular listener, is with us in the cool shades of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Everton have been up and down this season, and Calvert-Lewin has stopped scoring. As for Newcastle, they have to make Callum Wilson to step up, because Andy Carroll is not the same as before, i.e. not the player he once was. Yeah, they had a spell where they played Wilson and Carroll together. The last one I watched was the Aston Villa game, where it didn't really work at all. It looked better with Ryan Fraser supporting Callum Wilson, certainly with Carroll on the bench. Carroll's on the bench again today, just 1 goal for him this season, Andy Carroll, although he twice scored for Liverpool in Merseyside derbies against Everton, including one in an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley Stadium. Free kick there against Everton, and Sigurdsson has hurt himself in committing that foul on Lascelles. Just a ball he mistimed.
They're both looking at the ball, they're both competing. I don't think there's anything malicious in that at all, but when the studs do catch you, especially if they're the metal ones, it's a bit painful.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 minutes to go to half time. Can either side break the deadlock before the interval? Newcastle have a free kick 10 yards inside the Everton half. Now, Stuart Atwell's having a stern word, I think it's fair to say, with James Rodriguez. Quite sure what Rodriguez did there. Here's Shelby's ball forward, nodded away by Coleman. And here's Almiron for Newcastle. He wants to shoot, but again, he's forced to go backwards. Here's Cher, who pings it away across towards the far side, and that'll be left by Luca Dean. One bounce and out of play it goes behind the goal. Everton's mentioned their good defensive record recently. It looks as if they're going to get to half-time without conceding. They haven't conceded more than 1 goal in any of their last 9 Premier League games. So they've certainly sorted it out. Remember, at the beginning of the season, they were the great entertainers, weren't they, Everton? They won all their opening 4 games, but they were winning them 5-2, weren't they? Here comes Newcastle, and an opportunity on the edge of the box falling to Isaac Hayden, who's now fallen to the ground. He didn't get his shot right at all. He's still injured, and Everton are coming forward here with Richarlison, who tries to find James. James is bundled over by Miguel Almiron, and Hayden is still down on the edge of Jordan Pickford's penalty area, which will facilitate a break in proceedings.
You were talking obviously about Everton's defensive record there, but that chance for Hayden, it comes from a bit of a mistake there, just a bit of sloppy play, and I think maybe just a slight bit of overconfidence. But Hayden does well to pick the pocket of Rodriguez, but just can't get that shot on target.
It's now over. We will be at half-time. 10 hours since Newcastle scored away from home. Hayden is still receiving some treatment here, so you're not missing any of the action. Just a reminder, coming up we've got Manchester City, I should say, at home to Sheffield United. Russ Hargreaves and Kit Simons will be bringing you that one. Then the big one of the weekend at 5:30, Tom Rennie and Paul Parker watching Arsenal against Manchester United. And then the late game tonight is Southampton against Aston Villa. Here we're in the last minute of the first half between Everton and Newcastle. Hayden's gone off for some treatment, and we'll find out in just a moment how much time is added on, as Everton have a free kick at the exact midway point between the halfway line and the goal line for Everton. It's curled in by Sigurdsson and harmlessly bounces into the hands of Karl Darlow. Continues to keep the Slovakian keeper Martin Dubravka out of the team. He's played well, Darlow. He's second only in shot stopping to Sam Johnson of West Bromwich Albion this season. Here's Almiron for Newcastle. Can they give themselves a huge boost before half-time? It's Lewis finding Hayden, who's back on his feet. Back from him to Lewis again over on the far side. Ryan's made a move. Everton are defending well as a unit at the moment to keep Newcastle at bay. 3 minutes, incidentally, has been added on by the fourth official, who's Craig Pawson today. We haven't mentioned the word VAR, which I'm delighted about. Here's Everton with a header forward. Calvert-Lewin lets it go because he knew he was in an offside position. We haven't seen much from Calvert-Lewin, have we, today? They just haven't really got him into the game very much. He set up a chance for Hammers, but they'll want more from him and more from the players who are aiming to provide him.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially from wide, we know what a great header of the ball he is, and just the quality of the balls in the box for Everton haven't been up to the usual standard you'd expect.
Carlo Ancelotti, wearing a hat to protect him from the cold, is looking a little concerned with his arms folded, chewing furiously on gum as he prepares to deliver his half-time speech as the ball goes out of play on the halfway line. Jeff Hendrick knew it had gone over and he then belted it. I think he just thinks, let's get into half-time at 0-0.
A little bit of the dark arts there, and I think the last thing that Newcastle will want to do is obviously concede so late in the game when they've done so well to keep it at 0-0.
Yeah, it would deflate them enormously. There isn't much time, just over a minute. They have the ball in the Newcastle half at the moment, but it's thumped away by Digne towards Calvert-Lewin. He's been beaten to it by Cher, but he can only find Iwobi. Here's Rodriguez for Everton, who switches direction and finds Doucouré. Doucouré thinks about a pass out wide. Instead, picks up the ball because he initially lost it, but he's got it back now. Here's Richarlison, edge of the penalty area for Everton. Richarlison shoots. And for the second time, the Brazilian puts the ball wide. It was the other post last time. This time he's got his foot rather under the ball, his left, and scooped it beyond the post.
Yeah, you can see what he's thinking, and Digne is wide, so he's opened up that channel for him. But you look at Calvert-Lewin, he's a frustrated figure at the moment. He wanted the ball there, and hopefully, at half-time, I think, he'll be looking at talking to Ancelotti about how they can get him into the game more, because he's barely had a touch of the ball.
Yeah. Well, he's got 11 in 11 at the start of the season, Calvert-Lewin. He hasn't got 1 in 6 in the Premier League yet. Since then, whistles blown by Stuart Atwell. Half-time. Newcastle, I think, will be the happier of the two teams, not least because they've managed to keep a clean sheet. They went close through Callum Wilson, who was denied by Jordan Pickford, while at the other end, James Rodriguez tested Carl Darlow. It's been a fairly even game, which, given the positions in the division between these two sides, will suit Newcastle down to the ground. They go in at half-time, 0-0 against Everton on Premier League Live.
Stream Leicester v Leeds and West Ham v Liverpool this Sunday, live with the Now TV Sky Sports Pass.
The team that's been in electrifying form.
With Now TV, you can stream a whole month of live Premier League action or only pay for the games that matter to you with the day or month pass. Perfect. It's your sport on your terms with Now TV.
This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Scoil Céile. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie.
As we know, keeping active and looking after your well-being is challenging right now. At Harvey Norman, we have the latest range of connected fitness and health products to help you understand more about your health, everyday stress, sleep patterns, and more. Like the TicWatch GTX smartwatch, packed with key features, including a unique bezel design, fitness tracking, sleep monitoring, and a long battery life. Available now for only €99. See harveynorman.ie for our full range of connected fitness and health products. Available for home delivery or click and collect.
Welcome back to Cadbury's Find a Legend, Win a Legend.
What a competition, Ian. And they've just got to pick up a Cadbury pack for the chance to win.
They could score Petr Cech's incredible VIP weekend at Chelsea, or there's Robbie Fowler's luxury Liverpool experience.
Or a VIP match day with me, Gary Neville. Results.
Find a Legend shirt inside your Cadbury pack to win big. Plus thousands more prizes at legends.cadburyfc.com. T's and C's apply.
There's certain matchday sounds we are all missing. But there are others we don't have to. Is Carlsberg Pilsner the best beer to enjoy while watching the match at home? Probably. Carlsberg Pilsner, probably the best beer in the world. Enjoy Carlsberg sensibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Grant has been providing reliable, efficient and affordable home heating technology for over 40 years. From the award-winning Grant Vortex condensing oil boiler to the highly efficient Arona heat pump, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.eu.
Ronaldo and Messi, a rivalry for our times. But like everyone striving to be best in their field, they need each other. They drive each other on. Like me and Mick, the other voiceover guy. Right, Mick?
Toothpaste. It's paste for your teeth.
He's so annoying. Well, something that is unrivaled is Paddy Power's offer of a free bet if one leg of your 4+ Fold ACCA lets you down.
Paddy Power.
Stay in your lane, Mick. Max free bet €10. Min odds 1 to 5 on each leg. Online exclusive. Excludes enhanced match odds. T's and C's apply. 18+. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.
Welcome back. Half-time on Merseyside. It's Everton 0, Newcastle United 0, but both sides had chances in the first half. Fabian Schär and the other tall centre-halves have gone up for this delivery from Ryan Fraser. This time it's headed goalwards by Wilson and it's tipped over by Pickford. That's the best chance of the game so far. They got the corner right this time. Powerful header by Callum Wilson and an acrobatic save by the under pressure Jordan Pickford.
Pickford gets his positioning spot on, and when the ball comes towards him, it's a fantastic save. And as I said earlier, for all his issues with whatever that is, he's a fantastic shot stopper and showing that there.
Here's Calvert-Lewin trying to get inside the box. Calvert-Lewin with the back heel. James Rodriguez with the shot and saved by Darlow. Well, that was a lightning counter by Everton. The long ball up to Calvert-Lewin, clever back heel, and James onto it, and Darlow did well blocking it at his near post. So there you are, no goals in the opening 45 minutes. I guess, I suppose the emotions from us as neutrals, I suppose, would be Everton have been disappointing, whereas Newcastle have been quite encouraging by their recent standards.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, it's a bit of a mixture from both. And Newcastle, I've been impressed with, but unfortunately, I think one of the only stat that matters is putting the ball in the back of the net. And for all their good play, they're just not finding that final ball. And I think Everton, that they've got more in them. They'll come out in this second half, really push for that goal. Whereas I don't know if what more Newcastle have got in them, other than getting a better quality ball into Wilson.
Yeah, Sam Maximin is on the bench, Andy Carroll is on the bench. I mean, there are options at least for Steve Bruce, and I mean, we were talking in midweek during the Leeds United game, which I did with Darren Ambrose, about expecting to see Sam Maximin around the 60-minute mark. That happened, and he certainly livens them up.
Yeah, definitely. He's a lively player. He's so exciting to watch. He's unpredictable. I think he's one of those players. I think sometimes he doesn't know what he's going to do, and I think as a defender that means they don't know what he's going to do, but he brings excitement and he brings a bit of quality in the final third as well. So the more that they can get him on the pitch for longer periods of time, I think that will make Newcastle look a better team.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for them second. As you said rightly, Everton surely will find something because they have been a little bit lacklustre. Calvert-Lewin, as we mentioned, has not really been in the game. I mean, I think in the great scheme of things, a point for Newcastle would actually be quite a good result, simply because it would put them 7 points clear of the drop zone, but also it would end this terrible run of defeats that they've been having. But on the other hand, the danger is if you sit back that Everton will catch you with the likes of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Rodriguez.
Yeah, definitely. I think momentum is everything in football, so they'd prefer the 3 points obviously, but 1 point would stop that rot and give them something to build from. As you say, I think the way that they play, I don't think they can come out in this second half and try to settle for the draw. They've still got to try and keep attacking, because to a degree we've talked about Everton maybe not being as good as they previously have, but I think we've got to give some credit to Newcastle. They've made it that way, so they still need to get forward and still try and push for that goal to keep Everton in, because I think, as you say, the danger is if you sit in, you're inviting pressure, and invariably 45 minutes of players on the pitch like James Rodriguez, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, they will score.
I think Ancelotti will be disappointed. The one thing that I would put against Everton as real candidates, even for top four, is the strength in depth. When you look at their substitutes bench, and here is a game where it's been frustrating for them. It's incredibly defensive and relatively inexperienced, the bench for Everton. I mean, the only offensive player really that they have at their disposal is young teenager Anthony Gordon, and if things aren't going right, there isn't much of a plan B there, is there? No,
and that's, I think, what sets them aside from we say the top six, but the big six, the teams with the big squads that can come on. And you look at Manchester United, well, not in the week this week because obviously they've lost, but they've got so many different players, and I think Rashford was on the bench at one point, so they can bring players like Rashford on, whereas Everton don't have that ability right now. And I think for them to take that next step consistently, that's what they need to do, make that squad even more competitive than it already is, because when you're a player and you've got quality players sitting on the bench, that automatically raises your game, because you're always looking over your shoulder to think, if I'm not performing, then someone else will. Yeah,
first 15 minutes will be crucial, won't it? I mean, if Newcastle were to concede, you would fear for them, wouldn't you? Because they did get back into the game against Leeds, but again they conceded 4 minutes after that, so I think an Everton goal would change the whole dynamic, wouldn't it? Yeah, definitely. They've got to, for at least the first 15 minutes, just keep themselves in the game. And then from there they can maybe start pushing to try and get a winner. But I think, as you say, if you concede that early goal, in terms of where they are as a squad at the moment and their confidence, I think you'll just see the life drain out of them if that happens. Goalless here. Manchester City against Sheffield United is next up. Russell Hargreaves and the former City and Wales international defender Kit Simons will be bringing you that one. Then it's the big one, 5:30. Don't go anywhere. Tom Rennie and Paul Parker. It's Arsenal against Manchester United. The Gunners have had a good week. They beat Southampton 3-1 in the midweek fixtures, and then of course they have signed Martin Odegaard, one of Europe's most talented young players, who has been compared to Lionel Messi. I'm not entirely sure by who and why, but Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, tells us that is going to make it tough for the young Norwegian.
I wouldn't. My suggestion is we don't even get close to that name that you just mentioned, because you have it's a lost battle, in my opinion. Martin is Martin. I think in the last few seasons he's progressed and developed in the right way. I follow him very closely because he played for Real Sociedad, which is my hometown, and I know him really well. And I've been really impressed. He's such a talent. He needs the right environment. He needs a little bit of time, but I think he's got the qualities to be a success for us.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a young player, the last thing I would want to do is be compared to Lionel Messi. I mean, it's just a kiss of death, really, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's, he's been so highly rated throughout his career, and how young he was when he was at Madrid, and when you get all those plaudits, it's sometimes very hard for players to live up to that. So I think he needs to be in a place where he can just enjoy his football and show what he's good at, and hopefully, do that consistently for the next few years. Yeah, hopefully we'll see him in action later. Arsenal Man United, 5:30. We'll be back with the second half of Newcastle at Everton in just a moment on Premier League Live.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
Welcome back to Cadbury's Find a Legend, Win a Legend.
What a competition, Ian, and they've just got to pick up a Cadbury pack for the chance to win.
They could score Petr Cech's incredible VIP weekend at Chelsea, or there's Robbie Fowler's luxury Liverpool experience.
Or a VIP match day with me, Gary Neville. Result.
Find a Legend shirt inside your Cadbury pack to win big. Plus thousands more prizes at legends.cadburyfc.com. T's and C's apply.
Get ready and hold on tight, because the Premier League is here! Which teams will stay on track? And who'll go off the rail? Get the Irish Sun for top transfer news, exclusive star interviews and opinions from the biggest names in football. Plus expert analysis of every action-packed match in our fantastic goals pull-out each weekend. Stay up to speed because you never know what the Premier League is going to throw up. Pick up the Irish Sun today.
Watch the Premier League live with the Now TV, Sky Sports or Sports Extra Pass.
What a fantastic goal.
Where you can stream all the action from Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports, all without a contract.
Oh, what a finish that is.
Only pay for the games that matter to you with a day or month pass. It's your sport on your terms with Now TV.
Ronaldo and Messi, a rivalry for our times. But like everyone striving to be best in their field, they need each other. They drive each other on. Like me and Mick, the other voiceover guy. Right, Mick?
Toothpaste. It's paste for your teeth.
He's so annoying. Well, something that is unrivaled is Paddy Power's offer of a free bet if one leg of your 4+ fold ACCA lets you down.
Paddy Power.
Stay in your lane, Mick. Max free bet €10. Min odds 1-5 on each leg. Online exclusive. Excludes enhanced match odds. T's and C's apply. 18+. Need help? Visit gamblingcare.ie.
123inc.ie have your office needs covered. So whether you're an accountant, butcher, carpenter, dentist, electrician, florist, graphic designer, hairdresser, journalist, lecturer, musician, optician, retailer, teacher, solicitor, web designer, or yoga instructor, we've got what you need. And we're cheaper than your current supplier. 123inc.ie. For home, for office, for less.
We're all working more from home these days. And at Harvey Norman, we have the latest range of HP home office technology to ensure you're working smarter with the best products. From HP laptops and desktops with powerful Intel Core processing to HP's massive range of multifunction smart printers. We've also monitors of all sizes and HP home office essentials, including ink, keyboards, paper, and so much more. See harveynorman.ie/HP for our full range of HP home office technology. Available today for home delivery or click and collect.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Newcastle United from Goodison Park. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is Sheffield United Women's Championship striker, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. This is Premier League Live. You join us as a rather grim-faced Carlo Ancelotti plunges his hands down into his pockets and emerges for the second half. It didn't look to me from his expression as if his half-time talk to his Everton players was particularly complimentary. I'm sure Steve Bruce will have probably had more encouraging words for Newcastle United, who could be halfway to ending these two desperate runs, really. They've lost all of their last 5 Premier League games, and they've lost all of their last 7 games away from home. They haven't managed to win in 11. The figures are stark and depressing and worrying if you're a Newcastle United fan. Everton wearing blue and white, as you'd expect at home, get us underway. Founder members of the Football League, of course, Everton, famous old club, but without a trophy since 1995 when they won the FA Cup. Newcastle have to go even further back for a domestic trophy. 1955 was their last FA Cup triumph. Now then, Newcastle might get an early corner here because it deflected up off Abdoulaye Doucouré, but it was prevented from crossing the line by Jordan Pickford, who made one good save in the first half to deny a Callum Wilson header. No changes in personnel from either manager at the interval, so Everton have Jordan Pickford in goal. The back four is Seamus Coleman, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina and Luca Digne. Across midfield, Richarlison, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Gylfi Sigurdsson and Alex Iwobi, and up front James Rodriguez just behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. For Newcastle, it's Carl Darlow in goal. The back three is Isaac Hayden, Fabian Schär and Jamal Lascelles. Across midfield, Javi Manquillo, John Joe Shelby, Jeff Hendrick, Miguel Almiron and Jamal Lewis, with Ryan Fraser supporting his former Bournemouth teammate Callum Wilson up front. Wilson close for Newcastle, who, as we keep saying, haven't scored in an away game for an absolute eternity. Here's Richarlison finding Digne on the far side, who just drifts in field and finds James Rodriguez. What do you think the message will have been from the two managers at half time?
I think Steve Bruce will say he's sort of happy with how they've done it. Obviously, there's a few bits of defensive errors that they'll like to tighten up, but I think he'll be really happy and more of the same, really.
Here's Richarlison, edge of the penalty area, spears it in. It's headed away by Isaac Hayden, then helped on its way by John Joe Shelby. Jamal Lewis controls it on the run, tries to knock it down the line towards Ryan Fraser. It's a wayward ball, and it's gone out of play, and Seamus Coleman, one of the 4 players reintroduced by Carlo Ancelotti for this game, takes the throw in. Rodriguez plays it forward to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's 6.5 games now since he last scored in the Premier League. Has scored in the FA Cup during that period, of course. Here's Michael Keane, just drifting across halfway and finding James over on this near side. Ball in towards Iwobi. He's a little bit ambitious, and Lewis will steer it back to Carl Darlow, who got a couple of early decisions in his favour. The goalkeeper for Newcastle, where he seemed to be slightly overprotected by Stuart Atwell, but he's had a pretty good game. He's made one important save from James and another one from Richarlison. Here's Digne in towards Calvert-Lewin. Chance for Everton. He's gone down in the box. Is it going to be a penalty? We will wait and see. Don't think Stuart Atwell is suggesting it's a pen. Maybe it's offside. I think you're right.
Yeah, fantastic ball though, and from Digne, and the way that James takes it down is fantastic. But I'm just thinking, can Calvert-Lewin, I think it's initially Rodriguez's offside, but Calvert-Lewin here, can he hit that first time maybe? Yeah. He tries to take it down on his chest, and sometimes when you take that early shot, it takes the goalkeepers by surprise, even if you don't get the best contact on it. But a good little passage of play from Everton, and I think that's one of Ancelotti's messages at half-time, to get Rodriguez closer to Calvert-Lewin, to give him a bit of support and a better ball into Calvert-Lewin as well.
Eagle-eyed there, Courtney. I didn't spot that offside at all. I suppose as a striker, you almost know straight away, do you, when a fellow striker has just gone a little bit early?
Yeah, you get the feeling, and obviously if it's you as well, you know, and as soon as you do it, you think, oh my God, the gaffer's going to be down my ear. So yeah, you try your best to keep yourself on where possible. Luckily, in the women's game, we don't have VAR yet, so maybe there's a few goals that I might have. Is that a good
thing or a bad thing? You'd be pretty annoyed, wouldn't you, as a striker, at some of the VAR fractional decisions that are made. We saw one with Son Heung-min, didn't we, in midweek for Tottenham. You wouldn't want to be offside by a millimetre of your heel if you're facing away from goal, would you?
No, for me, I'm really not a fan of it, and I think at the moment it takes more away from the game than it gives. Yep. So yeah, I'm very glad that we don't have that currently.
Yeah, I don't like it for those forensic fractional offsides. I don't think anyone goes to a game of football to watch goals disallowed, and I think unless the striker is getting some clear advantage, then I think it should be given if they're level.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's better now that the referees go over to the monitor more and have more of a degree of control.
All of which is hypothetical today, I'm delighted to say, because we're 5 minutes into the second half and we haven't had any VAR controversy whatsoever. None of the Everton players really appealed for a penalty, which wouldn't have come anyway, because there was an offside flag against James. Everton have the ball inside their own half. It's gone all the way back, in fact, to Jordan Pickford, who not only made a blunder in the game that he played in midweek, but also, I mean, I'm sure there isn't the rivalry in that sense, but Nick Pope, who most people, I think, consider to be a better England goalkeeper at the moment, had a fabulous night against Aston Villa. There would have been 3 or 4-0 down at half-time had he not played as well as he did, and they ended up winning, of course, by 3-2. And Gareth Southgate will have an interesting decision to make. Here's England international Dominic Calvert-Lewin finding Nigerian international Alex Iwobi, who plays the ball in, flicked by James. I know there's always interest from our listeners in Nigeria whenever one of their lads is playing in the Premier League. It's Iwobi today. Hasn't had a huge impact yet. Back in the side for Carlo Ancelotti, and back it goes to Jordan Pickford, wearing all black. Edge of the area, just plays a short ball to Michael Keane, and then Sigurdsson back to Pickford again, who clips it away towards Seamus Coleman. And now Iwobi with the ball in towards Abdoulaye Doucouré. This is James, and it might open up here on the left-hand side with Luca Digne for Everton, who plays it down the line to Calvert-Lewin. Again, it was a very good move by Everton. We saw a similar move actually from Newcastle in the first half. This one ended up with an interception as Calvert-Lewin tried to get the ball in. Lascelles conceding the corner, which is taken quickly by James. And here's Digne for Everton, hangs it up towards Mina, who goes tumbling over in the box. Now, nothing undue about that. And Jamal Lewis will clear for Newcastle, and Wilson gets a good touch. And here's Almiron. Wilson wants it played down the centre. Fraser obliges, and Wilson misses. What a glorious chance for Newcastle United to take the lead. He was gesticulating Wilson exactly where he wanted the ball played, and when it was played there, he shakes his head because he couldn't take advantage. They won't get too many better chances than that.
Absolutely fantastic play by Newcastle. Initially he wanted the first ball from Almiron, but he plays it out wide. It's a lovely ball from Fraser, and you're looking at that and you're just thinking it's going to bulge in the side of the net. Callum Wilson, fantastic clinical player normally in front of goal, and he'll be very disappointed with that.
He certainly will. I mean, when you're in Newcastle's position, you've just got to take those chances. You can't keep missing them because, I mean, well, it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, you know, you need your top scorer to be burying those, and it's almost symptomatic of the lack of belief in the side.
Yeah, of course, and those clear-cut chances are so few and far between for a team like Newcastle, so you've got to make sure that you score in those goals. And it was a lovely passage of play, the way that Newcastle played it. And as I say, the ball from Fraser was absolutely brilliant. I think he's only got one assist this season, so in the Premier League, so we did like that, you know, Wilson to put that in the back of the net, one for Newcastle, but for obviously his own personal stats as well.
Well, it would have changed the game as well, wouldn't it? Suddenly a Newcastle goal, and it's like, you know, Everton will then have to sort of throw caution to the wind, really. I mean, in their position, if they're serious European contenders, with the greatest respect, they can't be losing at home to Newcastle. They're not at the moment, of course. Here's Richarlison coming forward, finding Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin with the ball across the face of goal, which is flicked away by the keeper. Iwobi tried to keep it alive, but a whistle has blown. Well, Darlow had to do something with that because it was an awkward teasing ball by Calvert-Lewin inside the 6-yard box, and the Newcastle goalkeeper just about managed to claw it away to safety. And I think, I'm not sure what the whistle went for in the end. Iwobi wasn't offside, but anyway, it's a free kick to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit of a mess of a clearance there by Lewis, who eventually gets it out of harm's way on the far side. 10 minutes played in the second half. Everton 0, Newcastle 0.
I think with that save as well, Darlow did really well, because if it had pushed it forward, it would have been a tap-in for Iwobi, so does it really well to get it so wide.
Here's the long throw, and it's flicked on towards Calvert-Lewin, who tries to find Richarlison. Yerry Mina shoots, and it's blocked by Shelvey. Comes out to Doucouré, and Almiron will get the ball away, and he's grateful as well to get the ball out of play. Memphis says, good afternoon, guys, listening from Lagos, Nigeria. Loving the commentary and hearing the voice of the lady today. I want Newcastle to get all 3 points. Beautiful job, guys. Lady, is that a condescending way to describe a woman these days? I don't know, but they were complaining about the ladies' singles at Wimbledon, weren't they, saying it should be women? But I think he's being nice.
Yeah, I'm not too into all the pronouns and everything like that. So
here's tussle on the far side. Roy Gizichuk, if I pronounced that correctly, enjoying your wonderful commentary from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. I see Everton winning by a single goal from Richarlison. Here's John Joe Shelvey, and on the far side of the field, Newcastle have it with Manquillo, drifts in field but then loses the ball, but I think there's a flag up there for a foul. Sigurdsson has gone down holding his ankle. Yes, he was just caught by Manquillo. It's going to be a free kick to Everton. On a broader point about women in broadcasting, it's lovely. I mean, it's been such a male preserve for such a long time that, you know, Alex Scott, I think, has been the trailblazer in some ways, although it
definitely
goes further back than that with a friend of mine, Jackie Oatley, who was huge. But it's lovely, isn't it, yeah, I don't want to be too patronising about it, but, you know, it is great. Anyway, we've got a free kick to worry about first before we talk about that. Here's Ryan Fraser. Needs a good delivery from his right foot. It's high and hanging, and it's headed away by Yerry Mina, or rather headed up by Yerry Mina. Cher goes flying in, away by Sigurdsson. Richarlison's down injured, and eventually it'll be claimed by Jordan Pickford, and Richarlison will be able to get some treatment. But you're enjoying life, aren't you, as a star of TV and radio?
Very much so. I wouldn't go that far, but definitely I think the second best to play in is talking and watching football, and I use that term loosely. And as you say, looking at players that I've played against, like Alex and former teammates like Sue Smith doing so well, and know Jackie Oatley as well. So it's fantastic, and TalkSport have been great with me in that sense.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you. It's great. I mean, it's great, isn't it? Young women listening, will now be encouraged with, from girls from my generation. It was impossible, really. It's fantastic. Anyway, here we have Newcastle trying to get forward. It's not a particularly good ball, but Digne manages to wrestle it away from harm's way, and Michael Keane has it. 58 minutes played. Everton 0, Newcastle 0. Here's Almiron. Looks a bit long for Fraser. And it's going to curl back into the arms of Jordan Pickford, who, other than the header by Wilson, hasn't really been tested. Here's Yerry Mina finding Seamus Coleman. Sounds like someone dropped a tureen or something. I don't know what happened there. Sounded like a giant metal tray crashing to the ground. I'm not sure what went on. I don't know if you picked it up on the commentary. Here's James Rodriguez, centre circle, driving across the halfway line, and ball played in but not well by Digne, and it'll be picked up by Hayden for Newcastle United. Ball played infield, good one to John Joe Shelvey. This is promising for Shelvey. He's only got Ryan Fraser up ahead of him. Picks out Ryan Fraser now 20 yards from goal. He tries to find Lewis, and Lewis just gets there in front of Iwobi, but is driven out wide. Fraser again for Newcastle United finds Hayden, and he picks out Cher. Again, they continue to be much better than they have been of late, Newcastle, but once again we saw an attack there. I don't know where Callum Wilson was when that attack was taking place, but they only really had Ryan Fraser up front. He's not an out-and-out striker particularly. He's more of a wide midfield player, and it sort of underlines the problem that Newcastle have. We said it in the first half. For all the possession and good intentions, they just lack a cutting edge, don't they?
Yeah, and it's a lack of numbers around the final third as well. It's making life really difficult for them, especially the way that Everton defend and get bodies back so quickly.
Spun out by Shelvey, knocked in high hanging, and Coleman is able to get the ball away. Here's Jamal Lewis. He finds Fraser on the left-hand side as Newcastle attack. That's round the corner to Jeff Hendrick. Hendrick tries to get it past Mina, but Mina has stuck a foot in, but at the expense of a corner kick to Newcastle with exactly an hour played. We've got another one who says, wonderful to hear the voice of a female commentator. That's Roegzichuk again. You've got a bit of a fan club developing here. And Francis first says, good afternoon to you and the lady in the studio. I like the way she's analysing the game. I won't read out the last bit of that. Here's Ryan Fraser. It wasn't anything bad. It was just quite funny, really. The corner has been defended, and there's a Bournemouth player down holding his face at a Newcastle player, I should say. Should have mentioned, actually, that there's been a substitution for Newcastle. Jamal Lascelles has gone off with an injury and been replaced by Kieran Clark, who himself has just come back from an injury. 61 minutes played at Goodison Park. The deadlock yet to be broken. between these two sides with very different Premier League ambitions. It's going to be a corner for Newcastle, an outswinger from Ryan Fraser, a punch by Jordan Pickford. Shelvey tries to volley it back. He claims handball against Abdoulaye Doucouré, who then clears it for Everton. The referee didn't seem terribly interested, nor did too many of Shelvey's teammates. Doucouré saying it hit him in the chest. Well, let's have a look here. He's got his hands up. The question, I suppose, is about an unnatural position.
You know, earlier in the season, potentially you're looking at that and you're panicking, but I think rightly so, they've tweaked that handball rule again.
Here's Wilson, strongly beyond Dino. Did well there, Wilson, but again, there's not a huge amount of Newcastle support. Here's Almiron, though, edge of the penalty area. He plays the cross in. Header by Fraser, comes through to Wilson. Wilson tries to set up Hendrick. It's cleared by Doucouré, and Everton have been second best in the last 10 minutes or so. Certainly, Newcastle are carrying the game to them, and this will be hugely encouraging for Magpies fans.
Yeah, it was a good ball in the box as well. It's just unfortunate, probably the last player you want it to arrive to is Ryan Fraser, unfortunately.
Yes, he's 5'5", isn't he? Smallest player in the Premier League. Everton are making a substitution. Andre Gomes, the Portuguese international central midfield player, is coming on. It's Alex Iwobi. Apologies, Nigerian listeners, you won't be hearing any more of him. He's sprinting off. He's done okay. Brought in, and Andre Gomes, who did start the game in midweek against Leicester City, is brought on. He's more of a central midfield player, whereas Iwobi is a wide man. So we'll wait and see how that alters the shape from Newcastle's point of view. John Joe Shelvey standing over the free kick, tries to release Ryan Fraser. He's quick enough to get there, and he cuts it back dangerously, and it wasn't quite met by Almiron. If he'd have hit that properly, Almiron, and middled it, it might have tested Pickford. Instead, it was a bit of a miss kick. Not an easy chance, of course, by any means. Here's Rodriguez. Everton need to wake up, don't they?
Yeah, and, you know, I'm not surprised to see a substitute for Everton. Gomez, again, is someone that, you know, is not a runner like Iwobi, but he's got the ability to unlock passes and thread balls through the eye of the needle. So maybe that's what Ancelotti's thinking is behind that.
Yeah. Sigurdsson, he's had a quiet game as well. He hasn't really. You talked about his qualities, and you were right about them, but hasn't really demonstrated them much. Here's Digne on the far side, finding Andre Gomes for the first time, wearing long sleeves and gloves against the Merseyside chill. Here's Coleman, who's used to it, and has short sleeves and no gloves. Back to, he's made of sterner stuff. Here's Michael Keane for Everton. Tries to chip the ball forward towards Calvert-Lewin. Nicely chested down by him. Doucouré finds James. James with a teasing cross, which is dealt with by Manquillo. Gomez with a low ball in, and that's knocked away by Fabian Schär for a corner to Everton at last. A bit of forward momentum from them.
Yeah, nearly an instant impact there from the substitute, but does really well. But the initial ball from Keane into Calvert-Lewin was a really nice ball, and the way that he just chested it down was great.
Rodriguez with an out-swinging corner. It's headed away by John Joe Shelvey. Back in it comes from Sigurdsson, but he's given it away to Almiron. Almiron, far side, looks to play it down the line, but instead it comes infield. And drops at the feet of Hayden, who does really well here. Isaac Hayden tries to find Fraser. Doucouré back doing what he does, linking defence and midfield and clearing the ball for Everton, who really haven't been very good in the second half. Here's James Rodriguez on the halfway line, leaving it for Gylfi Sigurdsson, who finds Abdoulaye Doucouré. I don't think any of the Everton midfield players really have played to the height of their abilities yet. Here's Digne on the far side, finding Andre Gomes, who's just joined them from the bench. He tries to surge forward. Richarlison's tackled by Schär, another one who's underperformed largely. And Callum Wilson is trying to get forward for Newcastle United. He finds John Joe Shelvey. This is Isaac Hayden.
It's interesting that Wilson there finding himself so wide out on the right, and it's, you know, I think he's probably now getting slightly frustrated trying to get on the ball, but he's diluting himself, and he wants someone else to do that so he can stay in between the sticks and score goals, because that's what he's good at.
Here's Almiron. for Newcastle. They look the more likely scorers at the moment, you have to say that. Here's Fraser finding Shelby, just a few yards outside the penalty area. Oh, it's a mistake though by Newcastle. Here's a tweet from Linda, who probably is aware of my gastronomic interests. Listening to you guys, especially the lady listening from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, enjoying my egusi soup. And listening to you guys, I'd be interested to know what that is. Interesting tweet here from Every Young Steve. Great commentary, guys. Most females in Africa may find the word women not offensive, but they prefer being called lady, hence you'll understand the reason for the courtesy. This game is going to end in a draw. That's Steve from Port Harcourt. Yeah, no, totally accept your point. Certainly in Britain, women I think prefer to be called women, but anyway, we don't want to get into all that nonsense.
I'm just busy looking for egusi soup recipes.
Yes, I agree. I'm always keen on this sort of thing, as you'll probably discover. Yeah, as the season goes on, and if we're paired again, you'll end up with my sort of fascination with foreign cooking things. Sometimes people actually send pictures of what they're eating. It's quite good. Anyway, we're midway through the second half at Goodison Park, where it's Everton 0, Newcastle 0. John Joe Shelby with a free kick for the struggling Magpies, headed away by Keane, drops for Almiron. Almiron finds Lewis midway inside the Everton half, and now the ball has come out to Saint-Maximin, who's come on as a substitute, so he's got another opportunity to continue his rehabilitation. I think the fact that he's been on the bench for the last 3 games suggests he's not yet 100% well after the dreadful debilitating effects of the COVID virus that he's suffered. Corner to Newcastle. It's their 9th of the game. Can't think of too many where they've actually exerted any great threat. It's going to be Shelby this time rather than Ryan Fraser, who seems to have been relegated from corner duties. In it comes. It's nodded away by Calvert-Lewin. Might drop for Rodriguez. Lewis does the tidying up for Newcastle, and back it goes all the way to Carl Darlow, who's been a spectator in the second half, hasn't he? Darlow largely barely had anything to do, which Carlo Ancelotti will not be best pleased with.
No, even from range, you'd expect Everton, even if they can't work the ball into the box, maybe they've got players that are good enough to have shots from range, but absolutely nothing, and that will worry Ancelotti. And it's, we're talking about Everton's bench, and arguably Newcastle have got the better substitutes to make attacking wise than Everton have.
Yeah, you're right. Here's Gomez, centre midfield for Everton. 21 minutes still to play at Goodison Park. It's beginning to look like the sort of game where one goal might just be enough. Here's Coleman, flicks it out to James, and now he receives it back, the Colombian, and tries to play one of his trademark crossfield passes. That one didn't come off, but Everton have it again with Michael Keane. Here's James on halfway again. This time he does find the desired target. It's Gomez, who's got Digne further up down that left-hand side, and plays a reverse pass into Richarlison, and then a clever ball quickly up towards Rodriguez, but it's just overcooked by Gomez. Rodriguez is frustrated because the ball has whizzed past him and gone out of play.
Yeah, but better from Everton in terms of getting that third man run from midfield to try and move the Newcastle defence, because they've not really done that. Newcastle have been quite happy and quite set in their shape, whereas when you get them third man runs from midfield, they're difficult to track. So that's the better idea from Everton, just the execution.
Darlow will get a rare touch of the ball as he delivers it back into play from the 6-yard box. It bounces above Ryan Fraser, where it doesn't have to go particularly high to do that. That's a handball by Isaac Hayden, which is spotted by Stuart Atwell, and Everton will have a free kick. They've only lost once in the last 16 Premier League games against Newcastle, and they haven't suffered a double against Newcastle since 2002. The Magpies obviously won the corresponding fixture 2-1 at the beginning of November. Both goals by Callum Wilson, who should have scored today. When you look at the game, in terms of clear-cut chances with a striker getting in behind the defence, that Wilson chance which he missed, is probably the clearest of the game by either side.
Yeah, totally agree. It was the best chance of the game. I don't think he just got the right connection to it. He was trying to do the right thing in terms of go across the goalkeeper, but just went too far and obviously past the post. And you know, he will be thinking about that. If they don't come out with a point or a win tonight, that will, I think, haunt him tonight.
Everton are going to win 1-0. The voice of the lady in your studio, so sweet, Stephen from Nigeria says.
Sweet by name, sweet by nature, I'll take that.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, you're proving very popular indeed.
They like a Midlands twang in Nigeria, obviously.
Yeah, I'm a posh southern boy. Do you say pass and glass instead of glass and pass in Leicester?
Yeah. It's a bit of a weird one, actually. My grandma, who I grew up with, was a Cockney, so I've got a bit of, and then you move around with football, so you end up with a bit of a weird hybrid accent. But I didn't pick up the Scouse.
Yeah, I have the long vowels. I call them Newcastle, whereas some people would call them Newcastle.
Yeah.
Here's John Joe Shelby for Newcastle. Header by Wilson in. There's the goal for Newcastle United. Could their dreadful run of results about to come to an end, perhaps? Shelby's outswinging corner, Wilson's header. He got both against Everton in a win at St James's in November. Has he got a priceless goal at Goodison in the end of January? Everton 0, Newcastle 1.
Absolutely fantastic header from Wilson. The way that he just peels off, just assesses the flight, the ball goes across Pickford, and it leaves Pickford with no chance. There's nothing he can do about that. And we talked about earlier in the game Newcastle with the amount of corners they had that didn't even miss the first man. And you see now with Shelby on the set pieces what a difference that has made. And you can't say that Newcastle haven't deserved it. They've huffed and they've puffed, and they've got, rightly so, the goal that they deserve.
Yeah, it's a priceless goal for Newcastle. It's their first away goal in well over 10 hours of football. It's come in the 73rd minute. No blame attached to Jordan Pickford on that occasion. It was a really brilliantly directed header by Callum Wilson. His 9th goal of the season, his first in 7 games. Well, Newcastle could end a run of 5 straight defeats, a run of 7 defeats on the road. But here's Richarlison trying to get back as Calvert-Lewin clips the ball in. Newcastle will be only too well aware that they scored against Leeds in midweek, but very, very quickly conceded again. But they've got a platform here. This could be absolutely massive for Newcastle. They'd go level on points with Burnley and only 1 behind Crystal Palace if they win this game. The ball certainly hit the arm of the defender from Calvert-Lewin, but a natural position, so it's a corner, not a penalty. Swung in by Sigurdsson, cleared by Newcastle. Jamal Lewis drives it down the line. Here's Doucouré trying to get it forward again. You're right, they do deserve it on the balance of the second half. Oh, Saint-Maximin's lost the ball in midfield there, but he's tigerishly won it back. Oh, and that's a wonderful spin by him. And Saint-Maximin just seems to inject a bit of life into Newcastle. Now it's Almiron. Can they get a second? Out towards Wilson, looking to turn provider. Finds the cross by Manquillo is blocked. We've got 15 minutes left, and Newcastle United are in what has been largely uncharted territory for them in recent weeks, looking to preserve a lead.
I love watching Saint-Maximin as well. Yes. He just plays like he's in the playground. It's brilliant.
They've got another corner, but that one's come to nothing, and it goes behind. I think it was 10.5 hours, something like that, between the last goal they scored away from home, which was Kieran Clark in the 5-2 defeat against Leeds United at Elland Road. That was the last time they scored a Premier League goal away from home. But this one, well, it's gold dust for Steve Bruce potentially. Here's Gomez down the line towards Calvert-Lewin. Everton have not been at the races at all in this second half, and they've been punished. And we're looking at the goal again. Yeah. It's a really good header, isn't it?
Yeah, really good leap, and you can tell by his body shape he knows exactly what he's trying to do, and that'll do do him the world of good. And like I say, the earlier chance that he missed, sometimes some players that can play in their head, and it can go two ways. It can be negative, but for Wilson, he's used that as a positive to try and get a goal. And I think that takes him 8th now in terms of the Golden Boot race, joint with Wilfried Zaha.
Yeah, well, a fantastic header. I mean, because he's about 15 yards out. He's not in front of goal. He's kind of leaping almost away. He's got to direct it back with sufficient accuracy and power to get beyond Pickford's despairing dive, and no blame whatsoever could be put at the door of Jordan Pickford. It was just a brilliant header, classic centre-forwards header.
Yeah, does fantastically well. He puts power on it, but I also think there's a good amount of power on it from the cross from Shelvey as well, so plays into his favour. But to direct it back across the goal over Pickford, it's a fantastic header.
Talking of classic centre-forwards, Carlo Ancelotti's in deep discussion with his assistant Duncan Ferguson,
he'd have been proud of that goal, I reckon.
Certainly would. That was the sort of goal he used to score with regularity here. Here's Shelvey trying to find Hendrick, dispossessed though, and Doucouré brings it forward for Everton and finds Rodriguez, who tries to turn and flicks it out wide towards Yerry Mina, who's joined this attack. It's a really good ball by him to Coleman. Coleman plays a low ball into Doucouré. It's just behind him. Nothing really working for Everton at the moment. And they could lose a 4-match unbeaten run in all competitions. They'd only lost 1 in their last 6 games coming into this one, Everton. But they're struggling at the moment to find some rhythm. Richarlison to Sigurdsson, and now Gomez. It's going to be a long 13 minutes though for Newcastle. Now it's James to Coleman. Coleman slips it across the edge of the area, and it's gone out of play via Fabian Schär for a throw-in. Very good intervention indeed by Newcastle's Swiss defender.
Yeah, and it's the first time Coleman's really got forward a lot. We've seen it from Luke Dean on the other side, but Coleman's sort of stayed quite defensive, so trying to get forward now.
Here's Coleman again, half tackled. Calvert-Lewin finds Doucouré. Doucouré tries to play it back, and Almiron is in the way, but he's only cleared as far as Yerry Mina. This is beginning to look a bit ominous for Newcastle, because they've gone deep, haven't they? And Everton are coming at them. And Sigurdsson has rolled the ball across towards Coleman, who crosses from the right-hand side. It's not a particularly good cross. It'll come back all the way to Digne on the far side, but he's got down the byline. He's done well to find Gomez. Gomez to James Rodriguez. Almiron again. I mean, one of the really good things about Newcastle, and there haven't been many in recent weeks, is Miguel Almiron. He's been fantastic. Not just his creativity, but his work rate has been absolutely second to none.
Yeah, phenomenal at both ends, and that's what you want from your forward players as well. But Newcastle here, they're inviting a lot of pressure, but the I say one positive to that is if they can get the ball and get it out, and especially when you've got Sam Maximan on the pitch, Wilson's got pace as well, then there is an opportunity to get another goal on the counter, why Everton have pushed so many bodies up. But no, really well, Moron did really well there, and you just think winning those little free kicks and giving your team a little bit of time is really crucial at this time of the game.
Yeah, and he was fouled by his fellow South American, James Rodriguez, for which the Colombian has gone into the book for a foul on the Paraguayan. Ball is back in play. Here's James Rodriguez now on a yellow, and he's given the ball away to Shelvey, but it's bounced off him back kindly for Everton to Doucouré, who finds Coleman on this near side. Now it's Rodriguez again, midway inside the Newcastle half. He's played it into Richarlison. It's hit Richarlison smack in the face, that pass, as he turned away. I think he's going to be okay, but Rodriguez has it again. It was a peculiar one. 10 minutes left at Goodison Park. Digne with the cross, and Newcastle will be annoyed now if they don't get all 3 points. Neki Nekabari, good afternoon from Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. I love to hear the good melody from the lady's voice every weekend. I am going to keep reading them out, even though I know you're blushing.
Melody. You probably don't want to hear me sing, no. So yeah.
I like that though, the melody, that's great. Here come Newcastle again, but Everton win it back. They're running out of time though, and Doucouré finds Sigurdsson. We said it, didn't we, at the beginning of the second half, that Newcastle looked the more purposeful team, and as I mentioned, they'll be gutted if they don't win now. Here's Gomez though. He shoots, not a prolific goal scorer by any means for Everton, and it's blocked. Comes back to Digne, and then it comes off Hayden rather awkwardly, but it's gone back high into the seating behind that goal for a Everton corner, which Gylfi Sigurdsson's in a hurry, as he will be now, to try and take, because Everton know that they are potentially on the cusp of what would be not an embarrassing defeat, but a surprising defeat, given Newcastle's recent form. Sigurdsson will swirl it in with his right foot. Up goes Darlow, punches two-fisted. Digne, hugely ambitious, and in the end hugely off target. He's got a great left foot on him, Digne, as we know, but he was a long way out. The ball came at him at pace, and not many players would have scored from that situation.
Yeah, you're looking at Mina and Keenan, they're not happy with that. No. He had time to get that ball under control, recycle it and play it back in. It's a poor loss of possession when they've only got 9 minutes to try and equalise.
74% of the possession in the last 10 minutes, Everton, but hasn't really got them very far. Carl Darlow still hasn't really had a save to make, and if he can keep a clean sheet for the next 8 minutes, then Newcastle United will be celebrating wildly. They would be 9 points above the drop zone with a win today. And for example, if Fulham and West Brom were to draw, that would probably be the perfect scenario for them. It could be a huge win, not just in terms of the points, but just restoring some confidence. Not one yet, though. James Rodriguez, it's a great run by him as he plays it into Richarlison. Overlap from Digne, in it comes, half cleared. Hayden, his clearance is blocked by Richarlison. It's gone behind. It's going to be a goal kick, not the corner that Richarlison wanted. Not good enough at UKA 8, says quality header by Wilson. Old-fashioned number 9 goal. Well, they like an old-fashioned number 9 at Newcastle, don't they? All the way back to Jackie Milburn in the 1950s, and of course the likes of Alan Shearer, and in his previous incarnation Andy Carroll as well. He doesn't wear 9, actually he wears 13. Callum Wilson, lucky 13 so far for Newcastle United.
Yeah, it was a great, like I say, the movement for me, the header was brilliant, but also the movement to assess the ball is what I really liked, and that gave him the traction to get it across Pickford. Yeah,
great header and good forward play all round. Here's Calvert-Lewin, who Everton looked for goals and really hasn't looked like providing one at any stage yet. But again, he's a quality player, and he's certainly this season, certainly the opening part of it, he didn't need too many chances to get on the score sheet. Cher is nursing his right ankle after a challenge there by Dominic Calvert-Lewin and then by Andre Gomez. I'm not sure which one caught him. They both had a go at him. Steve Bruce will be having, I'm sure there are butterflies in Steve. I mean, he's seen a lot in the game, he's been around, but I think he'll know, not from his point of view, but from the club's point of view, a victory here would be immense.
Yeah, it'd be an absolutely huge 3 points for the club, and especially when you've been in a bad run of form, 5 minutes can seem like 20 or more. So they'll just be good play there from Almiron to get the ball up the pitch, and he's
cleverly won a corner, hasn't he?
Yeah, and that's the great little bits of game management that the good teams and the good players have got to make sure that they don't give the ball away and run down that clock.
Well, it is running down to almost 5 minutes to go. Everton concerned. Here comes the corner. This time it doesn't meet Wilson, but it's hoisted back in, but inaccurately from distance by Hayden, and it goes over Jordan Pickford's bar, and the Everton goalkeeper's quick to scurry across to pick up one of those footballs that's atop one of those cone-like structures that are around the pitch to enable play to continue quickly with no crowd to throw the ball back. Here's Gomez, who's going to have to throw everything forward here. He's got it across to Coleman. Coleman buccaneering down the flank, half tackled by Sam Maximin, gets the cross in anyway. It's off the top of Hayden's head, and again it's a 50-50, and again it's come off Digne, the Everton player, and gone behind for a goal kick. He looks frustrated, and John Joe Shelby just pats Kieran Clark on the head. Good to see, in fact it was Manquillo, I beg your pardon, not Clark. I was going to say it's good to see Clark back in the action after his injury, the Irishman.
I think you just see that the work rate from there. Also on the other side from Sam Maximan, he ran back about 30 yards, and I think he was worried he'd given away a foul, and he was protesting, whereas he'd have got up, he'd have probably got the ball again. But no, Newcastle, you can tell how much they want this and how much it means to them.
Flick on by Wilson, it's not going to reach Almiron, it's shepherded back to his goalkeeper by Luca Digne. And Pickford bowls it out towards Coleman on this near side, who tries to get away from Sam Maximin. Dreadful pass there by Coleman straight to Shelvey, and he's found Almiron. Almiron into the box. This could do it for Newcastle. It's Wilson. He's hit the post. He went round Pickford and he tried to angle it in. It was difficult angle with the left foot. It's hit the post. Well, that would have finished it once and for all. It was poor play initially by Everton, who gave the ball away. Wilson was onside, and he just put it a fraction too far wide, and the angle beat him.
Yeah, it's again, Sam Maximan tries to close Coleman down. He doesn't quite get there, but he puts him under enough pressure. The run is timed to absolute perfection by Wilson. I don't know what Luca Digne is doing on the other side with his hand up, because he's timed the run so well.
Steve Bruce threw his arms up in frustration as that ball hit the post. He knew, as we all did, that if that's in, then Everton are done. As it is, there are 3 minutes plus stoppage time left. I think there'll be a huge amount of stoppage time in the second half. Nonetheless, probably 6 minutes, I would guess, for Everton to try and get something out of it, which frankly they don't deserve. And it would be very hard, I think, on Newcastle were they to concede. But the thing is, with Newcastle, they do concede, don't they?
And any added time at this stage, whatever number goes up on that board, I think they'll be slightly worried. But so just a shame for Wilson, that is. He does everything right. He stands up. He tries to get round Pickford, and it's just the angle's just that little bit too acute.
Well, if they do win 1-0, it would be only Newcastle's second clean sheet in 13 games. Now then, what's happening here? It's a yellow card for Jeff Hendrick, who went in very solidly on Richarlison, who's got a painful blow as a result. Yeah, it was a bit rash, wasn't it, by Hendrick? He won the ball, but then he kept his foot up and slid through. I can see why that's a yellow.
It's the follow through, and nowadays you can't do that.
No. The last team Newcastle kept a clean sheet against were Liverpool, another one of your former clubs, and another Merseyside club, of course. So they've done well. This will be a particularly welcome result if they can get it. 1.5 minutes of the 90 remain. Everton have a free kick.
So I think Wilson went down as well. Again, I don't know whether
there's a gamesmanship.
A bit of dark arts there. I think he's probably pinched him or something. So probably doesn't elicit the response from Wilson that he did have. I think some of that sometimes does make me laugh.
Everton will be worried about their home form, actually, if they lose this game or even draw it. Only 16 of their 33 points have come at home, and this will be a third successive home game without a victory, held by Leicester in midweek and previously beaten by West Ham. Only won 2 of their last 8 home games in the Premier League if they don't win this one, which, well, I don't think they're going to win it. So that'll be a concern. Here's Coleman swinging it away towards Gomez on the far side. It's controlled by the Portuguese substitute, who finds Luca Digne, but back inside his own half. Steve Bruce will be delighted with the work rate of his players. Long ball in towards James Rodriguez. I think just handball or offside, both maybe. Offside definitely, because the flag has been raised. More frustration. Everton don't deserve to get anything out of this, do they? I don't think.
No, I think that the ball there, it's the right thing to do, but James was offside. I think I said how brilliant he's been previously, but I think all over the pitch, I don't think Everton have just reached the levels that they have previously and don't deserve to get anything out of this game. And I think we've got to, sometimes we say, that's Everton's fault for playing poorly, but I think Newcastle have played a part in that with how they've played.
Definitely. 5 minutes of stoppage time, so there is time for Newcastle. It's hard to think of an Everton player who's played particularly well today. Here's Callum Wilson, who has certainly played well for Newcastle, and he's done exactly what they would have wanted him to do there. He's been aggressive, he's gone in and he's won himself a free kick, which will mean that a few more useful seconds will be added on, and that Newcastle have a free kick opportunity right in front of goal, actually, and one which John Joe Shelvey might fancy.
Yeah, he's done so well there. As he's shielding the ball, he can feel Michael Keane, he knows the contact's coming. Nothing wrong with that, goes down and wins a free kick at a vital time for his team.
Shelvey is in conversation with Cher Jordan Pickford is organising the wall in front of him. Steve Bruce is very, very close to... probably need to reply to all those fans that he said wrote him letters saying don't give up, because they haven't given up. Here's Shelvey. Oof, it's not far away. Curled it and swirled it, and it ended up a couple of inches over Pickford's bar, with the England goalkeeper flying to his right-hand side. Decent attempt by Shelvey.
Yeah, very close. A bit further out, so we could had the time to get it down, but just couldn't quite nestle it in that top left-hand corner.
Here's Doucouré. Are Everton going to give us a grandstand finish? Luca Digne over on the far side finds Andre Gomez. Digne again wants to cross. It's deflected off Hendrick. It's going to be a corner to Everton. Oh dear, the clock is ticking. Normally for us it is ticking slowly for Newcastle United. There's no doubt about that. Time is almost standing still for them. There'll be hearts in mouths. They have a corner to defend in the second minute of stoppage time. It's James Rodriguez out. Swinger Michael Keane gets up, flicks his header to the side rather than towards the goal. Back in it comes from Doucouré, and well defended by Newcastle and Saint-Maximin, who's a useful outlook here, and that's a brilliant ball by Saint-Maximin, and Jamal Lewis has got a man out here. This is a real chance for Callum Wilson to finish it once and for all, and he does. It's a brilliant low finish into the corner by Callum Wilson, and for the second time this season he's got a double against Everton, and for the second time this season Newcastle have beaten Everton, and they have ended their wretched run of 5 consecutive Premier League defeats. Callum Wilson the hero. Everton 0, Newcastle United 2.
Wow, what a finish that is. But initially, again, from this corner, look at Saint-Maximin, the pace of him to get on the ball. He plays Jamal Lewis down the line, and, you know, I'm thinking in Callum Wilson's shoes. I'm thinking, get that ball across to me first time. Initially, I thought the touch wasn't great. It took him a bit wide, but take nothing away from the finish. He looks up, puts it across Pickford in that bottom left-hand corner, and what a finish, and totally deserved by Newcastle and Callum Wilson. And I believe now that takes him equal with Patrick Bamford. So 10 goals, 7th in the Golden Boot race. And yeah, just looking at the reverse angle, the finish is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think sometimes people lazily give man of the match to someone who's scored a couple. But I think in this case, I think Wilson has been the outstanding figure, because he's just offered so much to Newcastle that they've missed in recent weeks.
Yeah, he has. He offers that ball to feet. He's good at that, but he can run in behind as well. And just the way he's defending from the front as well. As you say, today he's done a bit of everything, and would definitely be my man of the match.
Yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that. We've got just over a minute left, but Everton, it's done now. They can't get back into this surely, although Calvert-Lewin will try to rescue the ball on the far side. He's got the wherewithal to get the cross in, but it's come back off. I agree with you about Saint-Maximin's part in that goal. He didn't let it just dribble out of play as he could have done with the seconds. Oh, here's Wilson. He's on a hat-trick. It's Callum Wilson. Can he run through all the way? He's been driven wide by the attentions of Michael Keane, who then puts in a strong challenge, and Wilson doesn't get the opportunity for a hat-trick. But Saint-Maximin played a delicious ball down the line, which allowed Jamal Lewis, who, credit to him as well, kept his run going. I mean, situation that Newcastle in, you might have expected them to just go for the corner, or just let the ball go out of play for a throw-in and then start defending. They didn't. They were very positive, and it was a brilliant counter-attacking goal. And as you say, a super finish. Pickford, absolutely no hope. And here's Gomez. And any minute now the whistle is going to blow, and everybody in Newcastle who's watching and listening will be on their feet celebrating a huge victory for them. Well, we had Sheffield United winning at Manchester United in midweek. This isn't quite the same in terms of the shock value, but it's still a huge result for Newcastle United. Steve Bruce congratulates Carlo Ancelotti, but it is his side who've won the game. 2 goals by Callum Wilson in the second half. Newcastle win away after a sequence of 7 straight defeats, and end a 5-match losing run in the Premier League in style on Premier League Live. John Joe Shelby for Newcastle, header by Wilson in! There's the goal for Newcastle United. Could their dreadful run of results about to come to an end, perhaps? Shelvey's outswinging corner, Wilson's header. He got both against Everton in a win at St James's in November. Has he got a priceless goal at Goodison in the end of January?
Absolutely fantastic header from Wilson. The way that he just peels off, just assesses the flight, the ball goes across Pickford and it leaves Pickford with no chance. There's nothing he can do about that.
Everton 0, Newcastle 1. Brilliant ball by Sam Maximar, and Jamal Lewis has got a man out here. This is a real chance for Callum Wilson to finish it once and for all, and he does. It's a brilliant low finish into the corner by Callum Wilson, and for the second time this season he's got a double against Everton, and for the second time this season Newcastle have beaten Everton, and they have ended their wretched run of 5 consecutive Premier League defeats. Callum Wilson the hero. Everton 0, Newcastle United 2. Fantastic result for Newcastle. They're up to 22 points. That's 9 above the dreaded relegation zone. Everton missed the opportunity to improve on 7th place, and indeed they could slip further back if we see victories for Chelsea and Arsenal later this weekend. Courtney, sum it all up for us.
For me, I think it's got to be all credit to Newcastle. And you know, sometimes when a team goes out and plays well, especially in the second half, the way they did it, it begs the question as to why they're on a run so poor that they are. But I think for me, Callum Wilson was the standout player. He did everything in terms of defending, running players down, but when the ball came into him in the difficult times, he was holding it up, running in the channels, and got his just desserts with the 2 goals for that. And I think, as I said before the game, having Sam Maximan back we've seen what he did in the 20 minutes and what he adds, and I think, you know, once they get him to a point where he's fit enough to start games, that could maybe change Newcastle in terms of the way they're playing. But I think it's got to go credit to Newcastle, because I think people will look at that and think it's points dropped from Everton, which it is, but it's Newcastle have won those 3 points.
I'm going to have to stop you there. We've run right out of time, Courtney. It's been an absolute pleasure having you alongside me. Thank you very much for your erudite and insightful input. Thanks to all of you members of the Courtney Sweetman Kirk fan club who tweeted us today. We're right out of time. Great win for Newcastle. Enjoy the rest of the weekend on Premier League Live.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
Welcome back to Cadbury's Find a Legend, Win a Legend.
What a competition, Ian. And they've just got to pick up a Cadbury pack for the chance to win.
They could score Petr Cech's incredible VIP weekend at Chelsea, or there's Robbie Fowler's luxury Liverpool experience.
Or a VIP match day with me, Gary Neville. Results.
Find a Legend shirt inside your Cadbury pack to win big. Plus thousands more prizes at legends.cadburyfc.com. T's and C's apply.
Get ready and hold on tight, because the Premier League is here! Which teams will stay on track? And who'll go off the rail? Get the Irish Sun for top transfer news, exclusive star interviews, and opinions from the biggest names in football. Plus, expert analysis of